The King's Avatar, Chapter 1608. Too Honest. Audio source, WuShoWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1608. Too Honest. Translator, Gnome Yummy. Editor, Gnome Yummy. The comboing onto Moon Luring Frost used up many of the skills Boundless Sea had available. During a combo, both sides need to pay attention to which skills were used. The side performing the combo wanted to leave as few openings as possible for his opponent to take advantage of. The side being comboed wanted to look for opportunities to break out of the combo. Feng Rui didn't get so carried away that he would leave any huge holes for himself after finishing his combo. However, because he had chained together so many skills, he didn't have many skills left to use and his options were rather limited. If Du Ming counterattacked immediately, Feng Rui would be in greater danger. Feng Rui clearly felt this danger. Such a fast counterattack couldn't have been out of impulse. Du Ming had calmly calculated what exactly his counterattack would be most effective. Du Ming was playing like he was on fire. Boundless Sea had appeared righteous and grand just a moment ago. Within the next second, he became the reincarnation of vulgarity. He was rolling all over the ground, fleeing and hiding, all to run away from Du Ming's counterattack. Du Ming is playing extremely well today. Yishu once again brought up this point. But he's too honest. Yishu sighed. So? Chen Guo didn't understand. He lacks variation and finesse. Yishu explained. Finesse as in playing dirty? Chen Guo asked. You could say that. Yishu thought about it carefully for a moment before nodding his head. Du Ming knew the importance of making the first move and counterattacked immediately. But no matter how threatening he may be, Feng Rui had instantly seen through him. If he had mixed it up a bit, he would have made things much more difficult for Feng Rui. Playing dirty required one to pay particular attention towards controlling the pace of a match. The master of playing dirty, Feng Rui, was an expert in this area. Du Ming's counterattack was too straightforward and honest. Even though he had the initiative, the more time went on, the more feeble he seemed. Blade Master skills had cooldowns too. Every attempt Du Ming made to land a first blow was making his available skill pool smaller and smaller. On the other hand, Feng Rui was only focused on running away. Boundless Sea occasionally took damage, but he always avoided any critical blows. His skills were gradually coming off cooldown. However, Boundless Sea continued doing whatever he could to run away. There didn't seem to be any indication that he was planning on counterattacking, and it was making Chen Guo extremely worried. Why isn't he attacking back? Chen Guo asked Yishu. Because Du Ming is asking the same question, Yishu said. Chen Guo was confused at first, but she figured it out after some thinking. Feng Rui was doing what Du Ming had been lacking previously. He was mixing it up by making Du Ming second-guess himself. It was a way of controlling the tempo. Du Ming felt like Feng Rui was going to start attacking back, but he wasn't seeing any signs of a counterattack. As a result, Du Ming had no idea what Feng Rui was planning on doing. It was making him uncertain on what he should be doing. Should he continue attacking? Should he slow down the tempo? Should he let out an opening to bait his opponent? His heart was wavering, and all of this could be seen from the way his character was moving. An obvious opening appeared in Moon Luring Frost's offense. Normal players might not have noticed it, but the spectating pro players immediately saw it. But Feng Rui didn't do anything. Feng Rui still didn't act. Boundless Sea was still rolling all over the place. What is he thinking? Even the pro players were starting to get restless. As for Du Ming, he had immediately noticed the opening and panicked. In a fluster, he started thinking of how he could bring things back. However, Feng Rui didn't act on it. Did he not see it? No way. What is he thinking? In any case, I really got lucky that he missed the mistake I made. I have to focus, Du Ming thought to himself. Spiral Chi kill. Whirling Chi suddenly appeared in front of Moon Luring Frost. Fuck. The reaction from the pro players were even more intense than the normal players. After all, most of the audience hadn't noticed Du Ming's mistake, so they didn't understand how sudden the spiral chi kill was. It was as if Du Ming had fallen off a cliff and was climbing back up, but during this time, Fang Rui just stood there, not doing anything. Then, as soon as Du Ming climbed up, narrowly escaping death, Fang Rui ran over and pushed him off. How dirty! How despicable! I can't even watch. Thunderclaps Dianchi cried out. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. Many of the younger pro players nodded their heads in agreement. They were all too inexperienced to deal with Fang Rui's dirtiness. The spiraling chi surged. Du Ming had been completely caught off guard, but there was still time to dodge it. Du Ming's condition today was godly. He had somehow reacted in time to this surprise attack. Moon luring Frost stepped to the side, narrowly dodging the spiral chi kill. Just when he was about to counterattack, he suddenly hesitated. Why does this feel like déjà vu? The last time he counterattacked after narrowly dodging a spiral chi kill, hadn't Fang Rui caught him with an empty-handed blade block? Some of the more astute and experienced pro players noticed Du Ming's hesitation and had the same sentiment as Yishu. He's too honest. Fang Rui had numerous skills that he could have used to attack, but he had specifically chosen to use spiral chi kill. His aim was to bring up an unpleasant memory for Du Ming and make him feel a sense of déjà vu. Advance or retreat? The decision needed to be made fast. On the other hand, hesitation was exactly what Fang Rui wanted. The hesitation had only been an instant, but Fang Rui had been waiting for that instant. Spiral Chi Rush. It was an attack similar to Spiral Chi Kill. The difference was that Spiral Chi Rush carried the user forward as well, closing the gap created from Moon luring Frost dodging the Spiral Chi Kill. Du Ming shouldn't have been hit by it, but he hesitated when he couldn't hesitate. Hit. The spiraling chi wasn't a quiet one. The moment Moon luring Frost was hit, ear-piercing screeches sounded from the chi tearing throughout his light armor. The dirty Chi Master immediately looked bright and radiant again. Skill after skill followed. Wave after wave of Chi struck Moon luring Frost from close and from afar. The Chi danced like a dragon, swallowing Moon luring Frost's life. Du Ming refused to give up. It wasn't the last round yet. He hadn't come across the person he wanted to come across. How could he lose here? Immortal guides the way. Suddenly, Moon luring Frost swung his sword, splitting apart the roaring chi towards Boundless Sea's chest. Empty-handed blade block. Let's see it. Du Ming was completely ready for Boundless Sea's empty-handed blade block. But to his surprise, Boundless Sea's two arms didn't rise up. Boundless Sea stuck his chest forward and took a step towards him, prepared to take the blow. Fuck! Du Ming cursed. He had been completely focused on the empty-handed blade block, but what came was reinforced iron bones. I guess that's it. Immortal Guide the Way's knockback had no effect against a super-armored target. Boundless Seas Chi wreaked havoc, destroying the last bit of Moon luring Frost's health. Happy's Fang Rui, Wan, End Chapter.
The King's Avatar, Chapter 1609 directly ignored. Audio source, WuxiaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1609, directly ignored. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Fang Rui had obtained an outstanding win. Boundless Sea still had 77% health left. Du Ming left the stage downcast, but he received much applause from the crowd nonetheless. Even though he had lost quite badly, his win against Su Mucheng had been beautiful. His fans wouldn't be so easy to forget his brilliant performance. Even so, Du Ming was dejected. After all, apart from winning, he had brought his personal feelings into the match. When he returned to his seat and he received comfort from his teammates, he couldn't help but glance towards Happy's seats first. There's no saving him. Might as well sell him to Happy. Ha, I was thinking, when we sell him to Happy, we should do it as a trade for Tang Rou. Wouldn't that be hilarious? It was the finals, and Samsara was behind, but Samsara's players could still joke around. It had to be said that the team had cultivated a healthy environment of trust and confidence. No matter what situation they were in, they always kept calm. Whether they were in the lead or falling behind, it was all a part of competing. They would face it with a hopeful outlook that they would win in the end. "It's my turn." Sun Xiang got up. He had a long history with Happy and with Yi Xiu. 2 group arenas had passed in the finals. He hadn't fought against Yi Xiu in either of them, which made his fights somewhat less storied. Right now, he was Samsara's last player in the group arena. He would need to beat practically 2 challenges from Happy to win. It wasn't looking too good for him. However, Samsara's fans seemed to be confident in this newly joined member of theirs as they cheered excitedly for him. Brimming with confidence, Sun Xiang walked towards the stage and waved towards the crowd. Group arena, deciding round. He would need to beat 2 opponents to win. Sun Xiang was clear what situation he was in. Before he entered his player booth, he couldn't help but look towards Happy's side, at Tang Rou. The meaning behind his gaze at Tang Rou was completely different from Du Ming's. Du Ming had been looking forward to playing with her. On the other hand, Sun Xiang was picking a fight, telling her, "I'll be waiting." He wasn't a stranger to Tang Rou's fiery fighting spirit. Tang Rou was a rookie though, while Sun Xiang was a top god. Challenging a rookie to a fight seemed rather illogical. However, his challenge had another layer of depth to it. He was completely ignoring the 77% health Fang Rui. Fang Rui was an all-star player. He was the master of playing dirty. Just in terms of status, he was far more suitable target for Sun Xiang to challenge. However, Sun Xiang was completely ignoring him. In Sun Xiang's eyes, Fang Rui's defeat was a foregone conclusion. The Samsara fans suddenly cheered and clapped even harder. Everyone unhappy was looking at one another. Their teammate was being disrespected, but when they remembered that the one being disrespected was Fang Rui, who had no idea what was going on, it all seemed rather funny. "I wish I could tell him," Su Mucheng said. "How terrible. Let's all give him a moment of silence." Yi Xiu said, "I kind of don't want to play in today's group arena." These words were quite rare coming from Tang Rou, who longed for a good fight. "Yeah, that's what we hope every match." And when Yi said, Tang Rou was usually placed as Happy's last player in the group arena. Her not playing meant that Happy would have at least a 2-point lead. It was an outcome that Happy always hoped for. And when Yi was saying the truth, "I always hoped that Boscan 1v5, Steamed Bun really worshipped Yi Xiu like he was a god." Even Yi Xiu embarrassed at times. "Let's watch Fang Rui play." Yi Xiu hastily brought the subject back to the match. The 2 sides loaded into the map, and the match soon began. Surrender. Fang Rui started trash-talking Sun Xiang. Unfortunately, poor Fang Rui didn't know that to Sun Xiang, he was already a dead man. Ha! Sun Xiang clearly had no interest in talking to a dead man. One autumn leaf rushed forward towards the center of the map. And to no surprise, Fang Rui's Boundless Sea was nowhere to be seen. "Where are you hiding this time?" Sun Xiang asked in the chat. "In a place where you're not expecting," Fang Rui replied. "Is that so?" Sun Xiang said. One autumn leaf looked as if he were taking a casual stroll as he enjoyed his surroundings. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to find Boundless Sea. Soon, one autumn leaf arrived at a stalagmite. The viewers suddenly felt a sense of déjà vu. Before they could recall where the déjà vu was coming from, they saw one autumn leaf jump, once, twice, thrice, 4 times. 4 jumps, and one autumn leaf stood at the top of a stalagmite. Everyone suddenly remembered. Wasn't this what Du Ming did? Was Sun Xiang planning on reenacting the previous fight? What's the meaning of this? Doing the exact same thing? Is he trying to show that he's better than his teammate? Chen Guo said disdainfully. Her dislike for Sun Xiang made her even want to fight for justice for Samsara's players. We'll see. Yi Xiu didn't make any hasty conclusions. Chen Guo curled her lips and continued to watch the map. One Autumn Leaf took the same route as Du Ming's Moon Luring Frost last round. His jumping was smooth. It seemed like all of Samsara had done practice in this area. One Autumn Leaf. Chen Guo always found the name particularly eye-catching. One Autumn Leaf was a character she loved to death. Who knew how many times she had cheered for him? Cheering for him also meant cheering for the player though. The owner of One Autumn Leaf had changed, but it was hard for fans to part with their feelings for the character. Every loyal fan was used to seeing their familiar player and familiar character together on stage. A change in player or character was always painful for them. One Autumn Leaf had switched owners, and the new owner was particularly irksome, who was also their opponent. It was unbearably uncomfortable for Chen Guo. She couldn't say anything about it though because she knew that whatever she felt about One Autumn Leaf couldn't compare to what Yi Xiu felt. In the finals of the Challenger League last year against Excellent Era, Yi Xiu had personally fought against One Autumn Leaf. Chen Guo felt her heart go sour just thinking about it. WuxaWorldAudio.com. She had even cried a little bit in private. She dreamed of getting One Autumn Leaf over to Happy, so that Yi Xiu would be reunited with him. Even if Yi Xiu wouldn't be playing him anymore, even if Tang Rou was the one using him, One Autumn Leaf wouldn't be their opponent at least. However, One Autumn Leaf ended up going along with the annoying Sun Xiang to Samsara. And once again, One Autumn Leaf had become an obstacle in their path to the finishing line. One Autumn Leaf. Chen Guo swore a silent vow. One day, she would definitely bring him over to Happy. Even if they wouldn't use him, even if he would just remain there as a memory, she really didn't want to see One Autumn Leaf as their enemy anymore, especially as an enemy to Yi Xiu. But whenever she thought of this point, she felt scared because she knew about Happy's financial circumstances clearly. Even if Happy was able to gather enough money to buy a top-tier character, it wouldn't be so easy. Sun Xiang was a young player, and he had integrated himself successfully into Samsara. This champion team wasn't going to give up an important asset on their team so easily. Taking back One Autumn Leaf was perhaps a thought for the future. As the team's boss, Chen Guo had the patience and determination to wait until that day. But Yi Xiu? How much time did he have left as a pro player? Would there be a day where she could see him fight alongside One Autumn Leaf again? Chen Guo knew that these hopes were small. All she could hope was for them to encounter One Autumn Leaf less often. At least they didn't meet each other in the group arena, last round and this round. Chen Guo could only console herself in this way. One Autumn Leaf jumped nimbly from one stalagmite to another, searching below him. But this time, Fang Rui didn't copy what he did last time. Boundless Sea didn't crouch behind a stalagmite, waiting quietly for his opponent to come. Instead, he was constantly switching between hiding places. Even though he had yet to see his opponent, he was playing very cautiously as if his opponent was right beside him. There was no way Happy's players could use the stalagmites as cover as well as Samsara's players, who had practiced with this map. However, the dirty Fang Rui was doing everything to the utmost of his abilities. The broadcast had quite the experience by now, paying close attention to Boundless Sea's movements. The broadcast zoomed out and looked around from different angles to show the audience how difficult it was to notice Boundless Sea's movements. However, this difficulty was constructed on the basis that he was on the same level as his opponent. Sun Xiang was jumping between stalagmites like Du Ming had done previously, but it didn't seem like Fang Rui had noticed. Boundless Sea continued to scurry stealthily across the ground, but Sun Xiang had finally located him from above. One autumn leaf immediately changed directions towards Boundless Sea. At this moment, one autumn leaf was moving towards an area where moon-luring frost hadn't gone to before. By jumping, one autumn leaf moved faster than Boundless Sea. Whenever Fang Rui reached a stalagmite, he would always crouch there for a bit. Finally, one autumn leaf reached him. With a jump, he landed onto a stalagmite behind Boundless Sea. What? Fang Rui immediately noticed an abnormality. He realized that something had happened, but he didn't look above him. Instead, he stuck his head out from behind the stalagmite to look around. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1610. You wanted me to see this. Audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1610. You wanted me to see this. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Sun Xiang let out a smile, but this time, no one could see it. One autumn leaf didn't make any unusual movements. He simply leapt downwards. Everything so far had been going the same as Du Ming's fight against Fang Rui. The differences began after one autumn leaf jumped down. Dragon breaks the ranks. One autumn leaf crashed down like a meteor. By borrowing the force of gravity alongside Dragon breaks the ranks, his fall speed was many times faster than when moon-luring frost dropped down. Such a powerful force was naturally very noticeable, but Fang Rui still didn't lift his head to look up. Boundless Sea's movements weren't as unhurried as before though. He rushed forward, not to pull away, but to circle around the stalagmite. Boundless Sea circled behind the stalagmite. The fierce one autumn leaf seemed to suddenly freeze at this moment. Then, one autumn leaf pushed off the stalagmite, placing his spear, Evil Annihilation, horizontally in front of him. It seemed like he planned on changing directions before he touched the ground. However, it seemed like his timing was a bit off. In the end, one autumn leaf touched the ground and turned around, but he didn't make a large enough turn. His body was bent over, and the momentum from Dragon breaks the ranks completely vanished. It almost looked like he was plowing the fields. Ha! Chen Guo didn't hold back her laughter. You wanted me to see this? Well, yeesh, you didn't know what to say. From Sun Xiang's actions, if Fang Rui had done the same exact thing as he did last round, no matter how he mixed it up, the Dragon breaks the ranks from Sun Xiang's one autumn leaf would be able to deal with it. His extremely technical right-angle turn in mid-air was truly quite brilliant. It wasn't something that just anyone could do, and as a result, that made it difficult for the opponent to predict. Sun Xiang had fully utilized the information that he obtained from his teammates' fight against Fang Rui. He wasn't like what Chen Guo thought, using the same exact method to show his teammate that he was better than him. He was using the same method so that he could replicate Fang Rui's response to it. Since he would know what Fang Rui would do, he could come up with a way to counter it. It was a perfect example of a group arena team strategy, taking advantage of the knowledge gained from previous rounds. Unfortunately, Fang Rui did something completely different than what he did last round. Boundless Sea circled directly behind the stalagmite. No matter how brilliant his turn was, it was impossible for one autumn leaf to circle around the stalagmite so quickly. Sun Xiang had been caught off guard by it. The surprise made him react slightly too slow, and he ended up faltering on the extremely technical turn in mid-air. It was why one autumn leaf looked like he was a farmer plowing the field right now. Since he failed to execute the move perfectly, there was a small opening. Boundless Sea circled back and shot out a blast of chi. Sky-piercing strike. The chi flew rapidly, but it missed. One autumn leaf seemed to know that Boundless Sea had attacked from behind him. He jumped up, leaping over the sky-piercing strike. Then, he twisted around in mid-air. Battle magic was already gathering around his spear. Evil annihilation crashed down, shattering the lands. Magic descended and then spread outwards. The surface of the earth swelled and then burst. The magic condensed and exploded, sending dirt flying violently into the air. Fang Rui knew that the situation wasn't good and didn't dare contend against it. Boundless Sea immediately ran away. Sun Xiang had completely put a stop to Fang Rui's sneak attack. In this instant, Chen Guo hated to admit it, but she seemed to see a shadow of the former battle god. Brandishing his spear, One Autumn Leaf chased after Boundless Sea. As Boundless Sea ran, he would turn his head back to check behind him. He looked like he was in a panic. Soon, he reached another stalagmite and immediately hid behind it. Sun Xiang didn't hesitate. One Autumn Leaf rushed towards the stalagmite at a diagonal. The moment you circled around behind a stalagmite, there would be a slight opening. This opening was too small though, and to most people, it wasn't enough time to respond to a potential sneak attack. However, Sun Xiang had the confidence that he could. One step. There was no one behind the stalagmite. Boundless Sea had plans on making a sneak attack. After using the stalagmite to block Sun Xiang's vision, he continued to scurry away. Sun Xiang sneered. One Autumn Leaf continued to give chase. However, so far, there hadn't been any opportunities for One Autumn Leaf to create any neutral chases. As a result, he didn't have much of an advantage in movement speed, and the two maintained the same distance between each other. Sun Xiang wasn't in a hurry though. He just needed to keep close enough to Boundless Sea. He might not catch up, but what about after his Dragon Breaks the Ranks went off cooldown? Everyone realized it. The broadcast put a special countdown, showing the cooldown on Dragon Breaks the Ranks as if it was Boundless Sea's death timer. Chen Guo couldn't laugh. Last round, Fang Rui had looked dominant against Du Ming. This round, Sun Xiang was chasing him around as if he were a stray dog. Is there nothing he can do? Chen Guo looked at Ye Xiu. Ye Xiu understood her intent and answered, "Don't worry. Fang Rui is still in control." In control? Chen Guo looked at Boundless Sea. It looked more like he had completely lost control. If that's what Sun Xiang is thinking too, then that'd be great. Ye Xiu sighed. What's that supposed to mean? Chen Guo replied. Ha. Ye Xiu pretended like he didn't know. Okay. Dragon Breaks the Ranks is about to be off cooldown. Pan Lin shouted. 3, 2, 1. Pan Lin soon swallowed his words because Sun Xiang didn't do like he had imagined, immediately using Dragon Breaks the Ranks once it came off cooldown. Sun Xiang wasn't in a hurry. He could see that Fang Rui wasn't in a panic. Fang Rui was still running away because he hadn't found any opportunities to counterattack. If he hastily made a move, he might actually be giving Sun Xiang an opening to attack him. A single Dragon Breaks the Ranks wouldn't be enough to fully close the distance between the two of them. Sun Xiang had completely ignored Fang Rui and provoked Tang Rou, but that didn't mean he was underestimating his opponent. From the start, he had used all the knowledge that he had to gain the upper hand. This was more than enough to show that he had respect for his opponent. Sun Xiang wasn't as young and naive as when he was captain on Team Conquering Clouds, nor was he as arrogant as when he was on Team Excellent Tira. He had matured, using the appropriate behavior to face a match. Are they just going to keep running until the end? Seeing that neither side was doing anything apart from running, the viewers couldn't help but be puzzled. The finals was a grand stage to be on. It couldn't just end up being a contest of who was better at controlling their stamina, could it? That would be too boring. Even though that was what most people were thinking, there really didn't seem to be anything apart from stamina consumption that would change the situation. The broadcast showed the stamina bars on the two characters, which was extremely rare to see in a pro match. It seems like Boundless Sea will last longer, Pan Lin said. I doubt either side will have any problems controlling their stamina properly. However, there's an inherent disparity between their classes. Even though one Autumn Leaf has a bit more stamina, Chi Masters consume stamina slower. It's probably designed that way to show how the circulation of Chi allows Chi Masters to more efficiently utilize their energy. Li Yibo said. No one really cares usually though, no. Pan Lin said. But right now, it's very important, Li Yibo refuted. To think he would take advantage of such a small detail, no wonder he's Fang Rui. Pan Lin said. Yes. So he'll have a bit more stamina to use, which he can use to run a bit faster and move farther away from Sun Xiang. And after that, Pan Lin said, after that he can use it to find an opportunity to counterattack. WuxaWorldAudio.com. Li Yibo struggled to explain. Pan Lin felt that it was a pretty unlikely justification as well. Such precise calculations, requiring perfect execution over a long period of time, also he could get a bit farther away from his opponent. That didn't seem very logical. Some words weren't meant to be said out loud, but in their hearts, they were thinking the same thing. I've already taken off my pants, and you want me to see this? Once the race was over, it would just start again. This sort of development was too boring to watch. Pan Lin and Li Yibo had no way to hype things up. Stopping people from dozing off was the best they could do. One Autumn Leaf is out of stamina, Pan Lin said listlessly. Yeah, Li Yibo replied listlessly. Fang Rui should know, right? He should know. Do you think Sun Xiang has any ideas? Pan Lin said. If he had any ideas, wouldn't he have used them by now? Li Yibo answered. True. He's out. Yup. So now, Dragon breaks the ranks, fuck. Pan Lin shouted. He couldn't help but curse, and he hadn't noticed it all. He was completely astonished. He hadn't expected it at all. To think Sun Xiang would choose to use Dragon breaks the ranks once his stamina ran out. It was truly surprising. Fang Rui must not have expected it either. That arrogant Sun Xiang was exceptionally calm. It was truly surprising. Dragon breaks the ranks. One Autumn Leaf rushed forward, and this skill's speed was far faster than a sprint. But there was a bit of distance between them. Dragon breaks the ranks would take some time to close the distance, and that was where the issue lay. But who would expect a Dragon breaks the ranks at this moment? A slight hesitation may result in Fang Rui not being able to react in time. But Fang Rui didn't hesitate. He had unexpectedly thought of the Dragon breaks the ranks. Boundless Sea moved horizontally, successfully dodging the Dragon breaks the ranks. Then, he responded with the Spiral Chi Rush. However, One Autumn Leaf didn't immediately stop after Dragon breaks the ranks missed, like Fang Rui had expected. One Autumn Leaf continued right past him. As a result, the two seemed to swap places. One Autumn Leaf wasn't able to close the distance, but Fang Rui wasn't able to get to his counterattack. However, Chi Masters were experts at mid-range. The skills that he had in mind couldn't be used because of the distance they were at, but he had many other skills he could use. Chi Blade. The attack was inherently difficult to see. With Fang Rui's sneaky methods, people who weren't paying close enough attention probably didn't even think Boundless Sea did anything. The Chi blade flew out. Boundless Sea's palms continued to gather Chi for the next skill. One Autumn Leaf had turned around brandishing his spear, but he couldn't make any attacks because of the distance. Suddenly, his body flickered. A trace of magic was all that remained in his original position. One Autumn Leaf had disappeared. Teleport. The skill that One Autumn Leaf put on his weapon today was Teleport. The first time using a bonus skill on a weapon would always be a surprise, but Teleport was a very common mage skill that people chose. Even when it was spread to all classes, Teleport was the most commonly chosen skill. No other superclass had a skill that was so beloved by everyone. Even if the teleport distance was rather small at level 1, it was an extremely versatile skill that could be used to escape or to attack. Was Fang Rui caught off guard by this sudden change? End chapter.